FEVA TV interactive buzz, and I've been teasing this one for a little bit. I've been excited about it. She has a brand new album in stores, available online, all platforms. That actually feels really good to say. One of my favorite all-time rappers, not favorite female rappers, not favorite, one of my all-time favorite rappers, the queen of Canadian hip-hop. Of course, I'm talking about the legend herself, decades in the game deep, Michie Me. Mish, what's going on?
What's up? Salute. What's up, Carrie? Nice to see you there. That's what's up.
It's so good to see you, and yeah, you don't age. Fine wine, you know what I mean? You don't age better with age, and I'm like, it's
All of us, man.
it's been such a long time since we talked, and when I heard the news,
Yeah.
yeah, when I heard the news in the fall, yeah, somebody said, "Yo, Michi's putting out a new album." You know, we were excited because it's like we hadn't heard in a little bit from you. We know that what you mean to the game, not meant, but what you mean to the game, from a lyrical standpoint, just like who you are and everything. It was something for us that was sobering, and it was like, yes, music, right? We're talking about real music.
Thank you for believing in me. Thank you.
1988, you know, you're a young, a rapper doing your thing. Hip hop music is in its infancy. Rap music is in its infancy. It's brand new. And this dynamo from Canada by way of Jamaica, Jam Down, burst onto the scene. How did you get started in rapping, for those who don't know?
The most influence I had was from the Rapper's Delight record when you just hear the actual music. But when I got to high school and junior high, that's when I realized we don't have to be the consumer of it. We can actually do it. And the genre was new. So high school concerts definitely influenced me to actually take it to that other level. And you just follow the route of where the hip hop led, and that was downtown. And downtown Toronto led to concert hall.
Right, no, for sure. But
In a-
in a nut. Yeah, in a nut. But when we talk about it, Rapper's Delight definitely had that impact. And again, we're talking the early stages.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
it made me start writing.
Start writing.
It was in dissecting because you can actually visualize where someone else lives, where the Black people live. And I'm like, just hearing the environment, it wasn't just, it was a lot of the soul and the funk that we were getting prior to that, talked about love. This one actually talked about the streets in the form of another tempo in drums. So it was just nice putting poetry to it, and being one of the first females in the class to have confidence, not only like in the rap scene, but in my class. I had a lot of voice, and I think that's what influences you when you're at school. And the person that's the funniest in the classroom, or the person that's the most athletic at that time, usually kind of has that domination with their peers. So that was, and I had a lot of peer support. And my influence started from sports. So when we didn't have places to get together and actually think of doing music, we would meet at track and fields. We would meet at, at soccer practice, in the change rooms. Whatever we did is still being done now, but at that time, those were the main spots and outlets that you would actually test your craft.
So would you guys like freestyle, be freestyling in the stands or in the cafeteria freestyling? Did you guys get down like that? Is that how you tested it?
Definitely. I think every cafeteria at that time had a cafeteria that would, you'd be on at the long jump pits. We'd find anytime there was someone taking away themselves and actually putting themselves to the music, because rap wasn't something even at that time that everyone was so boisterous at. And then it got cool, and then it became that thing. So you'd find people, come off to the pockets and just kind of listen to the music and like, what are you listening to? And we were very young. This is the age, of 12, 11-year-old, kids listening to music from another country and a new genre, and not what we listened to mom's house parties in the other room, and we got to go to the other room and they're playing their music. So yeah, it was totally a new feeling to music. So it was nice to be there.
Right. And of course, you grew up in the famed Jane and Finch. A lot of rap superstars, a lot of superstars in general out of Jane and Finch. So certainly your name is amongst the top of that very auspicious list. And shouts out, of course, the Jane and Finch family, Driftwood family doing their thing. And as we talk about family, all right, early 80s, this completely blew all our minds as aspiring kids, who loved hip hop music and dreamt about where it was going and how big it would be. You hook up with Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One. This blew our minds. Standing in concert hall and Michie Me, boom, brought on the stage by KRS-One to, of course, Big Tune, a song that to this day was still done as the dance. How did that connection happen with BDP, with KRS, and talk about working with the legend?
Well, that time I was at Martha Eaton Way, Trithaway, so that was when we picked them up at the airport. There was promoters that were from Trithaway that actually brought them here, and they were checked in downtown. We wanted them to feel safe and secure, and we just wanted them to have the cultural food and welcome to Canada and prove that Canada was very much like New York City. So that was the first encounter, and then they were always coming close to the border, but not crossing the border. So when they actually came to concert hall, they would always let me know they were here, and I would be in Buffalo if I wasn't too far. I used to hang out in Buffalo too. They used to have a strong presence of hip hop, and came back here. We used to go over there and buy the troop suits because the troop suits weren't for sale here, and troop suits were out. So we went and got a new one and came back here and met them, and then they were like, "Yo, Michie, come on stage," because they always knew what I did prior to any audience here, because Canada and Toronto scene was just getting to learn all the artists. So everyone didn't actually know me. So I knew more people in New York. So when they would come here, then it would help elevate me more here as an artist also. But I just followed the young hip hop when hip hop was just starting, but it mostly was in the Bronx. So I knew them from the Bronx. So just a matter of time, them coming here and hip hop arriving here and me letting them know hip hop was here. And yeah, we just took it from there, from the airport and from the shows. And I just brought them around town and kept writing. And we would have to go to Hamilton to actually get a studio to record. Decided that they wanted to come for the show and do some music. And they wanted to put Michie down with the BDP. So we were thinking those thoughts at that time.
And still to this day, some of the most legendary music ever made, and certainly, Michie rocking, you know what I'm saying, with BDP, and shouts out to Ron Nelson, man, because of course Ron did his thing, 88.1 at that time, and we were locked in, and anytime, Ron would say, "Yo, I got an exclusive, brand new Michie Me," and those days,
that was the place to go.
This is it, right?
That was the place to go. Anybody had a tape or cassette, you'd have to make your way down to, the station 88.1, and you'd have to try it on the Fantastic Voyage just to be relevant, because that was a hot spot. When anyone came to Toronto, you go to Eaton Center and you would go to 88.1. And those were the two locations to let everyone know, oh my God, the promoter's not full of, he said they're here. And those were the two spots you touch base.
Straight goods. And so it's funny now, and you look at it, because you mentioned it just a moment ago, talking about your presence in New York, because a lot of people may not have been aware of the fact that your presence in New York, for me and cousins and family, and I have a story that I'll share a little bit later, but they loved you, like we love you in Canada, but they been loving you in New York. And it was always the first question. You go to New York, the first question is like, "Yo, do you know Michie Me? Do you know Michie Me?" Like, yeah, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's from Toronto or whatnot. But what do you attribute, and again, being the first Canadian rapper, not female rapper or male rapper, the first Canadian rapper signed to a major record deal in the history of the music, what do you attribute that early success to? Why did they have so much love for you in New York? What's the deal with that?
Because we were all the same age. Hip hop was young too. And at that time, it wasn't so territorial. Like, no one in New York told me that, I keep saying the sign that I had to be less inferior to them because I was from Canada, or because I was born in Jamaica, because I spoke funny. No one, there wasn't that border in the music. It was really about the genre. And just kind of, connecting the dots. Who had rhymes? We just wanted to know who can find words. So it wasn't so important where you were from until the actual business of the music came in, and you had to, things had to get put in a form of recouping and making money. So that's when the territories became involved, because other than that, I didn't feel it, because they were just my friends, and they're still my friends up to this day. So now we can see where everybody's tax bracket is, where everybody lives, and all that other stuff. But we were really focusing on the junior, who had rhymes, who had words, who needed help with words, who wanted to talk about that. They were more interested in hearing what I was going to say, or what I was going to talk about, or how I was going to deliver it, more than me being from somewhere else. Because once you had, no matter where you're from, if you could hold your, in that cipher, then that's kind of who you were. And then you'd go back to kind of where you're from and why you talk so funny.
Well, what's really funny about that is that what I always used to get, and you tell me what the experience has been like for you. What I got when I went to New York is like, yo, son, I love the patois, son. Like, I like the reggae joints. Like, they loved how you intermixed. And to me, shout out to Buster, right, and all that. But to me, you were the first one to really fuse, those two musical forms. And I mean, I'm old school, so I know Orange Americans. I know if I go back to early '90s, I know what the deal was, Mad Lion and all that stuff like that. But you were the first one to fuse it, and not only did you fuse it, it was crazy the way you put it together.
Yeah, it was my way of being in New York, as you mentioned that, and being the Canadian Jamaican in New York, but without saying those things. It was my way of being different from them, because no one was born in Jamaica. And if you were born in Jamaica, you didn't want to talk about it, because you'd be called coconut. You'd be called something that was not cool at the time in hip hop, much less in American culture, period. It's like, no one wanted to ID. If you're living in America, a lot of the rappers at that time, to me, didn't want to identify with the Caribbean. So when I came and I was from Canada, I was like, all right, let me be different than anyone. Like, let me remind you I'm Jamaican. And it was very easy to emulate. So it was a natural progression. I really didn't think, but I was well aware that that was what made me different. And then, it was the obvious thing to do, but no one wanted to do it. So here comes this Canadian that's like, yeah, and I just did it. So yeah, it was a natural question to me, because it's rooted in reggae. So just we're gonna get into it, but it was and they knew reggae and knew dancehall, but no one would put it in rap. No one wanted, that identity wasn't there, because you were just the outcast. You were the immigrant.